What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? Welcome to WTC, the Anime Outcast. First off, if you're new here, this probably isn't the video for you, because this is the final part in a crossover with longtime friend of the channel, NoahStorys. So I'd recommend checking out the other parts spread out throughout both our channels before this one. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. The two Izukus and their plumber backup teleported to Sario City, ready for anything. The city wasn't the biggest, though sparsely dense in layout. Also, large parts of it were done in traditional and old-fashioned Japanese aesthetic. The plumber agents jumped straight into action, evacuating the locals while telling the two boys to push up and scout for the villains. It didn't take very long to find Exo-Skull, at least. He was trudging around the city, knocking down buildings in order to find the arm. Alongside him were his comrades, who tried to assist his search to the best of their abilities. Except Negabin, who just stood back and watched with bored expression. Deku and Changeling took cover behind the nearby building as they peered at the targets. Right, what's the plan? Deku then asked, looking towards his slightly older counterpart for guidance. It took him a second, but the other Midoriya spitballed an idea.
We need coordination this time. Just like you said, that's the reason why this Negaben beat us last time.
Muttered the Changeling out loud as he surveyed, trying to find out some sort of opening on the target. The four villains still prowled around the abandoned area, looking for their trinket while none the wiser to who was watching them. Though Changeling wasn't sure on what aliens his counterpart had unlocked, as he's seen at least one he didn't recognize, which was a massive problem. Then, maybe we should turn the tables, get the drop on them for once, Deku suggested, pointing out the fact that they've been in the dark for two more minor fights they've had, with both Ben and Exo-Skull literally appearing out of thin air. So if they launch a surprise attack, they could take down the two smaller villains, Subdora and Human Ben, with relative ease. This gets the gears turning in Changeling's head, slamming it right fist against the left palm, coming up with an idea.
I think I've got something. Do you have Brainy?
Yoda Midoriya asked, causing Deku's eyes to narrow slightly as he looked at his partner. The name vaguely sounded like one of his own, Cortex, so he nodded in response.
Great. Then I'll go Mr. Nature and we can try capturing one or two of them.
Changeling elaborated, then dialed up his Methosanian form. Wait, are you sure? Brainy, or Cortex, as I know him, can't do anything like that. Deku questioned, mistaking his Galvan form for Changeling's Cerebrocrustation. His counterpart gave back a puzzled look in response, needing to think of another form that could work. I think I got something else for this. Hibiki. I've been holding off transforming into him for combat, but we're in desperate times. This universe, Izuku explained, causing more confusion. Since Hibiki relates to sound and resonation, Changeling thought he was referring to reverb. But Deku reassured the other boy it will be fine. Just trust him.
One more change then. I'll go Icewind to make sure you don't get me in the crossfire.
The more experienced hero exclaims, finalizing the plan with his partner. So with the plan discussed and readied, the two prepare to transform. The villain group was still quite a bit away, so they could change without giving away their position. Changeling, who is eager to get this over with, goes to change first, dialed in his ice-based form and smacked the watch. But no flash came from his device. Instead, one abruptly came from the other Midoriya's Omnitrix. Somehow, Deku ended up as the Necrophrygian instead of the intended user.
What? I don't want this guy,
Softly said the insect-like alien as he tapped the white badge on his chest. But, just like what happened to him, the flash emanated from his counterpart, transforming him into Kinesilarian. This alien, otherwise known as Alpha X, or Speed Lizard. This got a facepalm from Changeling as he realized what may have been the problem. When tweaking the settings on Deku's Omnitrix, he noticed a quick white glint come from both watches as they sparked. It must have incorrectly synced them or something. But, as he knew time was ticking, and they needed to act as fast as they wished to keep their advantage, the two pressed on with the plan. As the villains continued their search, their de facto leader, Eon, barked orders at them.
Find the arm quickly. We can't let the other two Omnitrix users catch up to us.
This caused a collective groan amongst the others in his party, as he's just supposed to be the guide for them, a comrade, not a commander.
Give us a break, we're trying.
It tried to retort to the last Krurian before something came sweeping up from the ground and threw her. This captured her in a snug prison of ice. Eon was also somewhat captured by the attack, but the ice wasn't fully wrapped around him, leaving an arm and a leg free. Deku remarked how cool that form actually was as the two other villains braced themselves. Negabin prepared his own Dark Watch, attempting to transform. Before he could, another creature speeds in front of him and goes for a fast roundhouse kick. As his foot made contact with the emo boy's arm, a powerful surge of energy would come from his watch, driving back Speed Lizard. "Round 2, Ben muttered as he quickly transformed, becoming Electric Corpse. "Changeling, you good?" Deku shouted to his partner right as he shrugged off the blast.
I'm fine, just not used to being on the other side of that energy feedback thingy.
Changeling mumbled back to the two fighting stances. Though they thought that they had evened the fighting a little, Eon formed an energy blade and an arm to break out his way of the frozen cage. Subdora's restraints, however, were too snug for her to worm her way out of. Then, the armor-clad alien went to free his comrade, only to be stopped by a cane blocking the path of the sword. Professor Paradox had just joined the fray, making it a 3v3. At first, Exoskull attempted to stay and fight, only for Eon to command him to search for the object as he clashed with Paradox. This leaves the two Midoriyas attend with Negabin. The heroes look at each other, both having a similar but unspoken plan. As Icewing, Deku flew into the air and prepared to douse the Frankenstein alien into chilling air. In response, Negabin threw his hands up with electricity jumping off them. His intended attack was to blast Deku with a near maxed out volt, but then an oddly slow changeling appeared in front of him, trying to smack his hands away with his tail. Though Ben's reflexes were too good, a byproduct of having way more experience, this allowed him to move his fist away from Deku, leaving his chest wide open to be covered in ice, and Changeling speeded out of the way. Then, running back, Speed Lizard leaped forward to deliver a powerful front kick, shattering the ice and spinning the villains shooting back. This is how the two heroes planned to win. Play off each other's weaknesses and create openings for each other. They both use their aliens in similar enough ways, despite the differences in forms in universe. Though, as Negabin recovered from the blow, he threw a curveball at the other boys. He transformed into his unique alien, the Darkness. This creature was a sizable bear-like human with gray fur, and had a skull-like head with teeth protruding under it, as well as a white belly.
Have you ever seen that one before?
And called out to Deku, only getting a shrug from him. Shadows swirled around Negabin's wrist as he prepared to cast it out. Speed Lizard tried to rush the unknown alien, preferring to find out what he could do rather than later, only to be pelted with a stream of dark energy. The force stopped Changeling's advancement, also clouding his vision. With it now his turn to cover his teammate, Deku started breathing frost at the bear-like foe. This causes the evil Omnitrix user to switch targets, sending a second wave of darkness at the other Midoriya. Then, thinking on his feet, Changeling switched the other watch bearer to Brainy on instinct. His body went from shooting ice to emitting an energy dome around Ben. The barrier stopped Negabin's attack, giving the other two a second to breathe. Deku inspected his new form in shock. Just like Icewing, it was nothing he used before.
Quickly, turn me into Spider Monkey! We need to bind this guy quickly!
Changeling demanded, getting a puzzled look from his comrade. "May I ask which one that is?" beckoned the crustacean as his name Spider Monkey didn't match any of his current unlocked forms.
Four-arm guy, blue...
The Kinesalarian tried to explain before he's forcibly transformed into Tetramend. He inspected the old form in confusion before saying this was nothing like the alien he meant. "I know, but I've already predicted the fact that I don't have it unlocked, and I think that muscle of the Extramite is much more suited for what I have planned." The super-intelligent crab creature elaborated while gesturing for Changeling to punch the orb Negabin was trapped in. Begrudgingly, the Red Colossus started winding up one set of his fist before getting a running punch upon the sphere. The resulting blow sent the construct barreling down the city, crashing through a couple of buildings. Meanwhile, as the two time travelers clashed with their melee weapons, Paradox struck up a conversation. So, Eon, what's your game? What's your motivation this time? Though the Cronian wasn't too happy with the doctor's prodding, causing him to grit his teeth as he kicks his enemy back. Then, Eon changed tactics, firing time-displacing beams at the other man, keeping him away. Back with the two good Omnitrix wielders, they wait in anticipation for Negabin, as they doubt that a simple attack would be enough to finish the fight.
Extra might? Don't you think that's a little too on the nose?
Forearms muttered, only getting a shrug from the yet unnamed alien. It was the only thing he could think of at the time. Then, their assumption would be proved right as the villain rejoins the battle in his crystal sapien form. He floated in the air as he rained down black blasts from energy in random parts of his body. For Changeling, he could easily dodge the energy because of his immense strength. During this, he remarks how he never knew that Chromastone could fly. As for Deku, he creates more barriers to protect himself, though they would shatter from the excessive amount of hits they were taking. As Deku struggled to find a way to hit the flying laser cannon, Changeling took it upon himself to take down this form and call out to his teammate.
Quickly, turn me into Inferno! You definitely had that one. The name says it all.
It took him a second, but the Universe 12 Midoriya briskly switched his twin to the Pyronite form and to call Sakurajima. Changeling then blasted off into the air and the Negabin, becoming the namesake for his alien. Then, as things were about to settle down a bit, Exoskull comes rampaging down while exclaiming that he's got it. The item in question was the gunmetal gray and black arm that appeared to be robotic. The dull Rhino started waving the arm around to show his accomplices the find as he came charging into the battlegrounds. Deku stared at Exoskull like a deer in the headlights, almost about to get trampled by him until a flash emerged from his Omnitrix. As it subsided, and the rampaging villain ran over him, his crustacean form would be replaced by a sludge-based one. Because of his gel body, the boy became a puddle on the ground as Exoskull comes over him, leaving little to no pain. From in the sky, Changeling saw the villain headed straight for the main fighting group and thought ahead. Though this would distract him from his fight with Negabin, letting him get a few good shots in, the blazing inferno would get the upper hand, which forced the American teenager back onto the ground and in a corner. With Deku, a small UFO-like device appeared above him, causing his goo-like body to take a more humanoid shape. Then, seeing an opportunity, the slime creature snatched the item and made a break for it, attempting to speed out of there. His projector let him wrap around the glove and go flying off as if he were weightless. But he wouldn't make it far as Eon summoned a portal in his path, causing him to run right through it and into his grasp. The Aegis Warrior grasped the boy by the flying projector and tore the arm away from him. Then, he cast the young hero aside as he tried to make his own escape. However, he's cut off by Paradox calling Eon out on something. Judging by the little relic you have there, and the way you've been acting, you're not the one to be in charge here, are you? This finally got something out of the Cronian, as he started croaking.
So, you're finally caught on. This isn't my game. I'm merely here to repay a debt.
From here, a twisted game of hot potato is started as the two groups toss around the sought-after relic to keep it out of the other side's hands. Our two heroes mainly stay as the forms they already were, but Negabin would transform into Wildfire and attempt to use him to take the gauntlet. Throughout this struggle, Exoskull would be taken out of the fight by two Izukus. Changeling distracted him and tricked him into using his horn laser cannon, allowing Deku to clog the barrel with his gel. This resulted in an explosion destroying his weapon and knocking him out, leaving it as a 3v2. Now on the ropes, Ben briefly reverted to his human form and dropped to his knees. Both our heroes stared at the boy, thinking he's defeated. Instead of staying down, however, the emo teen glared back at them, rage festering in his eyes. Before they had time to react, Negabin transformed into another creature with Gloria had. But unlike the previous unique alien, the Darkness, this one was way bigger. The towering Toku Star smashed his knuckles together before giving a tyrannical roar, lightly shaking the city. Then, Ben started laying waste to the town in an attempt to crush his foes. His punches weren't the hardest to dodge, but each blow left a significant fist-sized crater in the ground. Changeling tried to fight back against the kaiju, but he seemed impervious to all fire-based attacks. All seems hopeless for the two until Paradox calls them from the refuge of a crater. You know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Now, I might suggest hitting that to Kustar in one of his fins. The two Midoriyas quickly turned to each other and shouted at an alien. Turn me into Kishoshi! Both panicked. They tried to explain what alien they meant, only adding to the confusion as they dodged massive swings from way big. The diamond guy! The one you were when you crash-landed on my world! Deku called out right as the changeling described the form he wanted.
Big guy, he can become like a ball thingy. Please tell me you have him.
But with that, the Midoriyas realized they both had the same plan, causing them to smile. Then, the teammates smacked their Omni simultaneously, becoming their respective aliens. With an unspoken plan ready, Deku started drawing the attention of the raging monster by sending Crystal Wave at him, as if he were Todoroki. In response, Negaben put both fists together and smashed down on the attack, leaving him wide open. Constructing a diamond ramp for his partner, Changeling revved up before launching himself at the large target of his enemy. The Pellerota instantly made contact with the Kaiju's horn, bouncing off of it almost like a pinball, but this did cause pain to spiral down the spine of the giant, tripping over his own feet and smashing into the ground. From that, Negaben de-transformed from his big depression form, lost in the wreckage of the city. The two heroes took a second to revel in their victory, high-fiving each other as they reconvened. Though this would be short-lived as they noticed something. Neither of them knew where the gauntlet nor Eon were. Their eyes darted around frantically, surveying the rubble to find out where he could have gone. Changeling spotted it first, seeing the Time Walker open a large portal with the relic in hand.
Speed Lizard!
The hero roared, with Deku instinctively hitting the his friend. However, he had not yet registered what was going on, even after Changeling left a dust trail in his wake as he entered the portal with Eon, followed by Exoskull carrying his frozen girlfriend. With an abrupt end, Deku stared wide-eyed where the portal once was, a feeling of defeat overcoming him.
Shit. Did we just lose?
He muttered out loud, not expecting an answer. Well, believe it or not, this puts the multiverse on the best path, the one where good succeeds, Professor Paradox exclaims as he appears beside Izuku, adorned with a proud smile. As all seemed set and done, the two heard stomping and debris moving from behind them. Swiftly turning around, they see an injured and livid Negaben. His hoodie was utterly ruined, and he was panting like a wild animal, cursing out the heroes, the boy prepared for his final transformation.
Oh, come on. Why won't you just stay down?
Izuku sighed as he formed his hands into diamond blades and rushed his opponent. Then, as a purple flash engulfed the boy, Shosei leapt into the air, preparing to slash down. When the light subsides, the diamond sword is met by another unique alien. This creature was black humanoid, with his body being of inky black void covered in stars. Deku construct bounced off the weird alien, causing the hero to jump back and prepare another attack. With his fist aimed at Negaben, he was ready to bombard him with crystal shards, though something eerie about this form stopped him. The boy just stared down at the ground, totally still and not even breathing. Deku waited in anticipation for something, anything. The villain just stayed still, like he wasn't even there. Oh, you needn't worry about this one. I'm afraid our friend here doesn't have full access to his form, Paradox explains as he approaches the celestial sapien casually. This caused Deku to drop to one knee as he reverted to his base form, seeing this as an end. Though the story isn't entirely over just yet, as Changeling did pursue the rogue time travelers. As he entered the portal, his visor was once again flooded with vivid colors and lights. But unlike last time, he was more adapted. As they flew through space and time, Changeling used his gathered speed to running into the rift to boost forward. In a matter of seconds, he was able to catch up to villains, getting a kick on Eon's back. Though he wouldn't be with them for long, as Exoskull backhands the speedster, sending him spiraling out of control and out of the stream. With Changeling branching off stream alone, he sent spiraling to another world. The boy crash-landed into a vast cityscape, it takes him a second to recover from the fall, thrown to himself. As he started surveying his new surroundings, he's met with a strange sight of a futuristic city. It looks like a Mitch-Max hot pot of different alien cultures and architecture. Thanks again to the Outcasts and Rejects for watching to the end of the video. If you came from Noah's channel and you liked what you've seen here, make sure to check out our own take on what if Deku had the Omnitrix, and feel free to stay around. Likewise, make sure to go check out NoahStorys channel if you're a regular here. Other than that, if you have any questions about the series or channel, sound off in the comments or feel free to join our Discord. Thanks again. It wasn't recording.